So good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
So the topic is muscle morphology. So what is muscle morphology? It describes the shape of the muscle. What is the shape of the muscle? Okay. The function of any muscle, it depends on the shape of the muscle. The function of any muscle, it depends on the type of the muscle, it depends on the shape of the muscle. So today we are going to discuss the shape, not the types. Already we have discussed the different types of muscle fibers, fast twitch muscle fibers, slow twitch muscle fiber, all those things we discussed. So today we are going to discuss shape of the muscle. So there are two shapes. Based on the shape of the muscle, they are categorized, or the muscle is categorized under two division, that is fusiform and pennate. There are two types of muscle, fusiform muscle and pennate muscle. So what is fusiform? Example is biceps. The muscle fibers of the biceps, it runs parallel to one another and to a central tendon. The muscle fibers, they run parallel to each other and they run parallel to the central tendon. Clear? So if you see the image here, if you see the muscle fiber here, clear? So you can see the fibers are running parallel. See, the fibers are running parallel. And where is the tendon? This is the tendon. Here, it runs almost the fibers of the muscle, they are running parallel, and all these fibers are running parallel to the tendon. Yes. So this type of, see, it is running parallel to the tendon. So this type of muscle is called as fusiform type or fusiform muscle. Fusiform by second, pennate. Pennate muscle are the muscle where the muscle fibers approach the central tendon obliquely. Yes. It makes an angle. The fibers of the muscle, it makes an angle with the tendon. Yes. So what is the example? There are many examples are there. Examples are unipennate, bipennate, multipennate muscles. So these are some examples. What is the example of bipennate? Calf muscle. Calf muscles are the example of bipennate. What is an example for multipennate? Deltoid muscle. Clear? So we are not going to study in detail about the types of muscle. We are going to discuss the shape of the muscle. One example we will take. For fusiform muscle, biceps is an example. And for pennate muscle, we will take one example. I'll explain in short. So what is the shape? What is pennate muscle? The muscle fibers, it approach with an angle to the tendon. It makes obliquely, or it approach the tendon in an oblique fashion. But the fusiform, the muscle fiber, it approach the tendon parallelly to the central tendon parallelly. So you can see one example here, calf muscle. Sorry. Okay, you can take room. Mm, okay. So example is calf muscle. So I'll explain. Okay. So amount of force Here is an image. Calf muscle. If you see the calf muscle here, see, this is the tendon. This is the tendon. Here, I am drawing a line along the long axis of the tendon, and if you take the muscle, you see it is the muscle fiber is it is obliquely it is obliquely running here, obliquely running, and it is having insertion at an angle. It makes an angle, this angle. Here, the muscle, it makes an angle. So this is an example for pennate muscle. Clear? So basically, there are two types, fusiform and pennate. Now, amount of force, that is, the muscle is generating the force, and the force is transmitted to the bone through the tendon. Again, I'll repeat. The muscle, it generates the force, and this force is transmitted through the tendon to the bone. Okay. This force transmission, it depends on two factors. Again, I'll repeat. The force is generated in the muscle, and it is transmitted to the bone through the tendon. Clear? So this transmission of the force, it depends on two factors. One is physiological cross-sectional area of the muscle and pennation angle. Amount of force transmitted, it depends on two factors. One is physiological cross-section, second is pennation angle. So what is physiological cross-section? So physiological cross-section, it is, or it reflects the amount of active protein available. Clear? The physiological cross-sectional area of the whole muscle, it reflects the amount of active protein. You know, protein is required for the contraction. For initiation of contraction, protein is required. The protein, availability of the protein, it depends on its cross-section. Clear? If the cross-sectional area is more, then more proteins are available. Clear? If more proteins are available, then the force generation will be maximum. Clear? Suppose you take two muscles, we will take a two muscle example. One muscle, this is cross section. If you take a biceps muscle, if you take the biceps, clear, cross section is large. This is one fiber, and this is one muscle fiber. 2, 3, 4, 5. So if the bulk or the muscle is large, then the cross-sectional area, when you add this cross-section with this 1, 2, and 3, and another muscle 4, fiber, clear. As the muscle bulk is increasing, the cross-sectional area is going to increase. As the muscle bulk is going to increase, the cross-sectional area will be increasing. If cross-sectional area is increasing, then availability of protein is going to increase. Clear? You take two muscles, adductor pollicis. It's a small muscle. Clear? Adductor pollicis. If you take this muscle, small muscle, this is the cross-sectional area is small. Clear? And if you take the biceps muscle, the cross-sectional area is large. Clear? So obviously this will have more protein and this will have less protein. Clear? So the force generation, it is directly proportional to the cross-sectional area of the muscle fiber. The physiologic cross-section area of the whole muscle reflects the amount of active protein available to generate contraction force. The physiological cross-sectional area of the fusiform muscle. What is the example of fusiform? We discussed it is biceps. Is determined by, so how you will measure this cross-sectional area? How you will determine this cross-sectional area? Because you know the muscle, if you take this as a biceps muscle and this is tendon. This is tendon. Clear? If you cut the muscle, at this level, cross-sectional area will be this much. And if you cut at this level, cross-sectional area will be little bit more. When you cut the muscle at the middle or at the bulk, where the muscle bulk you can find, there the cross-sectional area will be maximum. Clear? And again, gradually it will become small. Clear? So how you will measure the physiological cross-section? The physiological cross-sectional area of the fusiform muscle is determined by cutting through its muscle belly. That is bulk, where the muscle bulk is present. There you have to see the cross-sectional area. Clear? And this value or the cross-sectional area is expressed in square centimeter or centimeter square. The value of the cross-sectional area is determined or it is expressed in centimeters square. It represents the sum of cross-sectional areas of all muscle fibers within the muscle. Sum of all muscle fibers. That is, first you are adding cross-section area of one muscle fiber. Second, you are adding cross-section of second. Third, you are adding cross-section of another fiber. So when you add all this, you will get a big circle or a big cross-sectional area. So this is the way to measure the cross-sectional area. Sum of the cross-sectional area of all muscle fibers within the muscle. Clear? So maximum force potential of the muscle is proportional to the sum of the cross-sectional area of its fiber. More cross-sectional area, that is, it is directly proportional to the force production. When the cross-sectional area is more, force generation will be more. Thicker muscle will generate greater force. Example, biceps. Thinner muscle of same morphology, not different morphology. Thinner muscle of same morphology will produce less force. Okay. How you will measure the physiological cross-sectional area for pennate muscle? We already studied that the cross-sectional, this is fusiform muscle. This is fusiform muscle. What we discussed in fusiform muscle, the cross-sectional area should be measured where the muscle, at the muscle bulk. Here. Clear? Okay. Now, how you will measure for pennate muscle? Pinnate muscle, how you will measure cross-sectional area. Clear? In pinnate muscle, the cross-section must be made perpendicular to the each of the muscle fiber. In pinnate muscle, cross-section must be made perpendicular to each of the muscle fiber. That is, okay, if you take the quadriceps muscle, here, if you take the quadriceps muscle, if you are taking quadriceps muscle, you see, you will not cut the muscle like this. You will not cut the muscle at the bulk like this. Then how you will cut? Cut means you will not literally cut the muscle. Clear? What you will do, how you will measure here? First you will measure the cross-sectional area of this. You know, this is the fiber. You know, this is the muscle fibers are running in this direction to the tendon. This is tendon and muscles are running in this direction. That is why it is called pinnate muscle. It makes an angle. This is the tendon and this is the muscle fiber. It makes an angle. Clear? So the muscle fiber is running, if the muscle fiber is running in this direction, you have to make the section of the muscle perpendicular to the muscle fiber. I think you are clear. First, this is vastus medialis muscle. Vastus medialis, you will measure the cross section in this. You have to measure the cross section of vastus medialis in this direction. And what is next? Rectus femoris. Rectus femoris is deeper muscle and vastus intermedialis is the superficial muscle. So you will cut the muscle or you will make the section of the muscle in this direction because muscle is running like this. Third, vastus medialis. This is the direction of the muscle and you have to make the section perpendicular to the muscle. Clear? This is for vastus lateralis. So, what I want to say is, you will not make the section like this because the muscle fibers are running in different direction in pinnate muscle. So first for medialis you will measure like this. For intermedialis you will measure like this, not here, here somewhere where the bulk is present. And third you will go like this. So like this you will measure the cross-sectional area of the pinnate muscle. Are you clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The pinnate muscle, in pinnate muscle, the cross section must be made perpendicular to each of the muscle fiber. For vastus medialis it is different, for intermedialis it is different, for lateralis it is different. First we discussed, this is second point. What is first point? First point is physiological cross section. First point is physiological cross section. What we studied in physiological cross section? In physiological cross section we discussed you have to measure the cross section of fusiform in the bulk or where the muscle is having or the muscle belly. In the muscle belly, you will go for cross section. Here, in pennate muscle, you have to pennate muscle. What we discussed, the cross section must be made perpendicular to the muscle, each of the muscle fiber. So this is first point we discussed. Amount of force transmission, it depends on cross-sectional area. Here we discussed fusiform and pennate muscle, how you will make the cross-section. Now second, the force transmission, it depends on pennation angle. Second point. The force transmission, it depends on pennation angle. What is pennation angle? Pennation angle is the angle. See, now we have taken a pennate muscle. Clear? You may take any muscle. You can take this as a quadriceps also. Quadriceps this is medial, vastus medialis. Clear? So when you see the vastus medialis, this is the tendon. This is the tendon. And you see the muscle fiber is inside. This is the imaginary line you are drawing through the tendon. The muscle fiber are approaching the tendon. Muscle fiber are approaching the tendon at an angle, and it makes an angle. This angle. Different muscle makes different angle. Clear? Not all the muscle it has same angle, pennation angle. Different muscle has different angle. Clear? Angle of orientation. What is pennation angle? It is an angle of orientation. Angle of orientation between muscle fibers and tendon. If muscle fiber attached parallel, listen carefully. If muscle fiber attached parallel, so what is the example? Okay. To the tendon, the pennation angle is defined as 0 degrees. If muscle fiber attach parallel to the tendon, the pennation angle is defined as 0. So what is 0? This is tendon and this is muscle. Imagine. This is muscle fiber. Clear? So muscle fiber 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what does this muscle fiber 1? What is the angle of this muscle fiber 1? It is 0. Because it is parallel to the muscle tendon. Or in other words, pennation angle for muscle fiber 1 is 0. Clear? If the muscle fiber attached parallel to the tendon, the pennation angle is defined as 0. In this case, essentially all the force generated by the muscle fiber is transmitted to the tendon. सारे muscle जो force है, all the force will be transmitted to the tendon if the angle is 0. So what is an example we discussed? We discussed example quadriceps. Clear? So we know that there are 4 fibers are there. Clear? One is, this is vastus intermedialis. Vastus intermedialis. And this is vastus medialis. And this is vastus lateralis. Clear? So vastus intermedialis muscle will generate the force, and all the force is 100% of the force generated by vastus intermedialis will be transmitted to the tendon. All the 100% of the force generated by the vastus intermedialis will be transmitted to the tendon and ultimately to the bone. Now, what is second? Vastus medialis. Vastus medialis and vastus lateralis. So here, all the forces does not transmit to the tendon. Clear? Because it makes an angle. If it is 0, then all the force will be transmitted. Because it is making an angle, 100% of the force will not be transmitted to the tendon. Clear? So, the amount of force transmitted, depends on pennation angle. Clear? So, amount of force transmitted to the tendon, it depends on pennation angle. Now you listen. In this case, if it is 0, all the force generated by the muscle fiber is transmitted to the tendon and across the joint. If the pennation angle is greater than 0, less force produced by the muscle fiber is transmitted longitudinally through the tendon. Clear? A muscle with pennation angle 0 transmits 100% of its contractile force. Same muscle, that is vastus medialis, that is quadriceps. Same muscle, that is quadriceps with pennation angle 30, that is vastus medialis, transmits 86% of its force through the tendon. Now 100% of the force is not transmitted. Yes, muscle is generating 100% of the force, but only 86% of the force is transmitted to the tendon, because the cos of 30 is 0.86. That is 86% of the force. Even though muscle is generating 100% of force, only 86% of the force is transmitted to the tendon and to the bone. In human body, if you take, most of the muscles, it has the pennation angle range from 0 to 30 degrees. In human body, most of the muscles have either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 30 degrees pennation angle. Pennate muscle produce greater maximal force than fusiform muscle of similar volume. Understand? Pennate muscle produces greater force than fusiform muscle. Why? Who can tell? What I want to say is, pennate muscle produce greater force than fusiform muscle. Why? What is the reason? Because you take biceps muscle. Here, when you make the cross section of this muscle, you will get the cross sectional area, for example, this much area in centimeter square. Here, and if you take the fusiform muscle, imagine this is the tendon and this is bipennate muscle. This is bipinnate muscle. Here. So now how you will make cross section here? You will make cross section here like this, because you have to make the cross section perpendicular to the muscle fiber. So now you will get this much area cross section for this muscle. And when you cut the muscle here, or when you make the cross section here, you will get the cross section this much. Clear? When you add these two, you will get a big cross section, more cross sectional area. Clear? So the cross sectional area, now you see, compare this muscle and this muscle. Clear? Pennate muscle cross sectional area is less. Fusiform muscle, sorry. Okay. I had made a mistake. This is fusiform. No one has corrected me. This is fusiform and this is pennate. Clear? So the pennate muscle has greater surface area, because you are making the cross sectional at different area. This is for bipennate. If you take a tripennate muscle, then what will happen? Again, you will cut this muscle in, make a cross section in this area level. Clear? And you will get one more cross sectional area. And when you add all these things, 1, 2, and 3, you will get a big cross sectional area. Ultimately, the surface area is greater. As you know, surface area is directly proportional to force production. So that is why the pennate muscle creates greater force than fusiform muscle. I think you are clear. So pennate muscle produces greater maximal force than fusiform muscle of similar volume. Now we are taking similar volume. Same volume if you take, cross-sectional area will be different, and hence the force production will be greater. By orienting fibers obliquely to their central tendon, the pennate muscle can fit more fibers. Clear? When compared to the fusiform muscle. So here if you take the muscle fiber, this is tendon. Clear? The fusiform fiber will can accommodate only less muscle fiber. Clear? But if you take a pennate muscle, this is tendon, and pennate muscle can occupy or can receive more muscle fiber. Throughout the tendon, the fiber can be inserted. Clear? But in case of fusiform, only less more fibers can be attached. By orienting fibers obliquely to the central tendon, pennate muscle can fit more fibers into the given length of the muscle. Space-saving strategy provides pennate muscle with a relatively large physiological cross-sectional area and hence a relatively large capability of generating high force. Have you got it? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One example I had given. So, how you will calculate the force production? One example we will discuss. This point already we discussed. Pennation angle 30 degrees enable fiber to transfer 86% of their force through the long axis of the tendon. So how you will estimate the the force potential of the muscle. Listen carefully. Specific force of skeletal muscle is defined as maximal amount of active force produced per unit physiological cross section. Yes, the force is measured in Newton per square meter, or Newton per square centimeter. Newtons per square centimeter. Okay. So studies indicate values between 15 to 65 Newton centimeter square. Clear? On average, 30 Newton centimeter square force is transmitted. I will explain, don't worry. So it is difficult to measure the true cross-sectional area of the muscle. Technically, it is difficult to measure the true cross-section area of the muscle. Muscle with higher proportion of fast twitch fibers will have slightly higher specific force than muscle with higher proportion of slow twitch fibers. These we already, I think, we discussed in fast twitch fiber and slow twitch fiber. So one example we will discuss. If you take the quadriceps muscle, with cross-sectional area of 180 square centimeter. Listen carefully. I am taking an example of quadriceps muscle. You know this is rectus femoris, vastus intermedialis, vastus lateralis, vastus medialis. Clear? When you take the cross section of all the muscle, then you will get a total cross sectional area. Clear? So on an average adult, clear? Because the bulk of the muscle, it varies from person to person. We are taking an average adult will have the cross sectional area of 180 square centimeter. Got it? Are you clear what I am saying? Yes? Hello? Yes? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, if you take a quadriceps muscle, okay, please mute. If you take a quadriceps muscle with cross-sectional area 180 square centimeter with specific force of 30 Newton per centimeter square. So the muscle, this 30 Newton per centimeter square, where it came, we already discussed. This is an average value. Here. So the total muscle can produce 5,400 Newton. Clear? How this value came? This value came by multiplying 180 square centimeter into 30 Newton per square centimeter. Clear? What is how much force the muscle can produce? It can produce 5,400 Newton, which is a large value. Clear? Now another example, you take pollicis, adductor pollicis. And it's a hand muscle, intrinsic muscles. With similar specific force, that is 30 Newton per centimeter square, with similar specific force, and cross-sectional area as 2.5 centimeter square, will produce only 75 Newton force. How you got this value? By multiplying 2.5 centimeter into 30 Newton per centimeter square, you will get 75 Newton force. So the quadriceps muscle is producing 5,400 Newton per centimeter square adductor pollicis is producing 75 Newton per centimeter square. Clear? And okay, what is the average pennation angle we studied? It is 30 degrees. Average pennation angle of quadriceps muscle is 30 degrees. So what you should do? You should multiply. What is 30 degree? 30 degree means, what is 30 degree? Cos 30. What we discussed, it is 0.86. Cos 30 is 0.86 we studied. So 5,400 Newton multiplied by 0.86. Yes. Quadriceps muscle is producing 5,400 Newton per centimeter square of force. How you got this? 180 into 30 Newton centimeter square. You got 5400. But all the force is not transmitted to the tendon. All the force is not transmitted to the tendon because some muscle are having oblique orientation. That is 30 degree of orientation. So what we discussed, cos 30 is 0.86. So only 0.86% of 5490 will be transmitted to the tendon. 5400 into 0.86, which is 4676 Newton. So how much it is transmitted to the tendon? 4676 Newton of the force is transmitted to the tendon. Muscle is generating 5,400 Newton, but it is transmitted to the tendon. How much? 4676 Newton. Even this value is high. Even this value is high. See, there are certain devices. I will conclude in 5 minutes. There are certain testing devices which can measure the strength of the quadriceps muscle. There are certain devices, testing devices, which can measure the strength of the quadriceps force. Here. And they found that the quadriceps is producing only 187 to 190 Newton per centimeter square force. But what we discussed 4,676. But the force measuring devices, it found the only this much amount of forces generated by the quadriceps muscle. How it is possible? This is possible when you express this force in terms of torque. When you express this force in terms of torque, that is, you know what is the momentum. What is momentum? Do you know what is momentum? What is momentum? How will you measure the torque? Internal torque. We discussed in first lecture. Internal torque is equal to internal force multiplied by internal moment arm. I think you remember this formula. Internal torque is equal to internal force into internal moment arm. If you take the quadriceps muscle, This is quadriceps muscle and this is patellar tendon. Okay, 1 second. I'll redraw that image. This is quadriceps muscle and this is patellar tendon. This is axis of rotation. Now imagine this is an axis of rotation of femur. So what is the force? Force is generated. Force is generated. This is, imagine this is the force. Now this is the force. Sorry. Always the force will be parallel to the patellar tendon. This is the patellar tendon. You know, anatomical pulley, function of anatomical pulley, sometime we will discuss later. Always the force production of the quadriceps will be parallel to patellar tendon. This is patellar tendon. Clear? So what is moment arm? So this is force. What force? This is called internal force. And what is moment arm? Perpendicular distance from axis of rotation is called moment arm. So this distance, it is around 4 centimeter. For quadriceps muscle, it is 4 centimeter. So what we discussed 4,000, what amount I had told? 4676. 4676 multiplied by moment arm. Moment arm. What is internal force? 4676 into internal moment arm. What is internal moment arm? Internal moment arm is 4 centimeter or 0.04 meter. When you multiply this value into 0.04 meter, you will get 187 nanometer. Are you clear what I am saying? So this is the final value. Clear? When you measure the quadriceps, there are special devices, testing devices. There are testing devices which can measure the force. And they found that in quadriceps muscle, 187 nanometer force is generated in the quadriceps muscle. Clear? So now I had derived how this force has come. Clear? So how this force has come? In short, first is I had multiplied 30 specific force of muscle, 30 into 5490. Clear? And we got here example. Here we have discussed. First we found that 5400 Newton force is produced. How you got this? 180 into specific force. You got 5400. Then what we found? The quadriceps muscle is having 30-degree pennation angle. So we multiplied 5400 into 0.86 and we got 4676. Clear? This 4676, what we done? 4676 we have multiplied into 0.04. This is moment arm. And this is internal force. This is internal moment arm. and we got the answer 187 nanometer, which is the force produced by the quadriceps muscle, and it is tested by the testing devices. So this is how you have to calculate. Basically, this I had included biomechanics also. So this is the way to measure how much the force is generated in the muscle. Any doubt? Any doubt? Hello. Got it? Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you have any doubt, you can ask me later. Wait a second, I'll take some.